do you want me to say? We've been taken for mugs, and I think we're here now in a place that I did not think we'd be in. Should never have gotten started in the first place, and unfortunately, we are the horses that are sacrificed for the journey of the rich men. These people are not human beings. They have no morals. They have no sanity, and they do nothing to limit themselves other than to satisfy their own greedy wants and needs. Frankly, it's disgusting. It's a disgrace to our game. It's the most foul thing I have ever seen. And the fact that we the people, not just the club that we're representing on this channel, but those who opted to completely disregard the element of great importance being the fans here, it's bewildering to me. This is supposed to be a match review for yesterday's game against Burnley, which we won 3-1. Unfortunately, this game is, I hate to say this, it's become second fiddle today. It has. I can't understand a time, or I can't even comprehend the world we live in, this world we live in, the middle of a global pandemic, the middle of a situation which, to say the least, first of all, this should probably never happen, or must not happen. Let's get that out there. I don't want to hear or see anything regarding this take a serious step to coming fruition. These people don't deserve the light of day. They don't deserve to run the clubs that they are piloting towards this project. And frankly, I find it disgusting, just greatly and deeply disgusting. And this is just the worst possible thing to happen. It is the worst possible thing to happen. For those who chose to watch Alexis and Robbie's show just a moment or so ago, will have known of their opinions on the matter, will have known of the ludicrous things that are being done to make this happen. And I am afraid that we are being used here, the fans, that's us. We are being used as common cattle to be herded into this so-called thing that they're doing, this Super League thing they're doing. I'm tired of it already. I'm tired of it. You go through the history books of Manchester United, Liverpool, you read of the horrors they've experienced, that they've suffered, to be able to say that they're able to support these clubs through thick and thin. And when you see that they go and stab you in the back like this, the match-going fan, the person who gives a crap when it's time for a big derby against your local rivals. Instead, it really has been the owners, the people who are the haves, telling the have-nots, you're going to do this now for us. You're going to be this for us. You're going to want this for us. If you don't want it for us, you don't deserve to be with us. You're in or you're out. And really, that's the stone. It's a stone cold reality. You either live on this planet to survive the terrors, the challenges, the events that take place, so that later in life you can tell the story to someone else, so that they can avoid experiences such as the ones that people have gone through, natural disasters, like horrible acts of terror. All of these things. I know it's just a game, but for some people, it's more than that. It's more than just 22 people kicking a bag of air about. For some, it's really life. It's everything they've worked for. It's everything they've tried to create for not just themselves, but for the betterment of families, for the betterment of those who, invest in it. Their life, their blood, their heart, their sweat, their tears, every emotion under the sun. It's not just money that they invest. They invest everything to be satisfied with to be satisfied with the outcome of a game of which 22 men kick a bag of air about for 90 minutes. And if it goes to the penalties and the Germans win, everyone will just say, oh, well, they cheated anyway. But guess what? It still brings up a debate, a positive debate. It can be banter even. But even still, what we've seen here is the classic death of the game of football as we know it. The game we know is dead now because of the selfish people who think what they have isn't enough, and what they're trying to get is not good enough for themselves either. So I can't stand by this. I can't accept it. I sure as hell, based on what I've seen in the last 24 hours, I'm quite sure a lot of people feel the same way. And you know what? Whether you watch these games on TV, whether you support this club, even in the smallest way, or your own club in the smallest way, even you'll feel like this is big, because so much will change now. So much will change. Whether this goes ahead or not, and I hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't. But so much will change to the point where you either stick with this or you don't. If you suddenly decide the right thing to do is to stick with this, you'll know better than they are. You'll know better than them. At the end of the day, they want you to fall into this trap. They want you to be with this, this little cult they're making, the little rich boys club they're making. It doesn't come to even the mind that what kind of foul behavior this is. It's childish from grown adults who do not use common sense at all. They do not use the common sense of knowing what the fan is, who is the most important person in the entire spectrum of this. The common fan, whether they watch the games with their bare eyes or they're there on the TV from their armchair, giving it the big one, trying their best to see them over the line. The last thing you want to see or hear is that childish rich boys who have silver spoons in their mouth from the minute they're given birth are snaking those who are trying to make a better game for all of us. Even those who were trying to make a better game for all of us haven't been looking all that good for themselves recently. But suddenly they're on the defensive, or they're trying to get the sympathy votes because of what's going on, when they could be doing a lot better in other departments, not just this particular situation. And we are here today, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it's pretty much it's pretty much the end of the game as I said we know it. Like the way we've seen it for the however long people have watched it, 183 years or so this game has existed in whatever form, whether it was the street runs in the middle of the Northern Ireland streets, or that game of football they kick ball into a river. That was probably one of the early editions of the game in this country. You have the early England-Scotland ties. You have these, clubs that come up in the late 1800s from, just little towns or little villages that built up to become the great empire that they are today. And now we see that they are just playing second fiddle to the haves. The haves are apparently now bigger than the founding members of the entire game. You're basically saying to us, we don't care about the fans, or we don't care for grassroots football. We don't care for, all the good we did last year in the pandemic, because obviously, clearly we have bigger fish to fry, quite literally. And I can't accept this common I can't accept this common disgust of I can't accept the disgust of them on us, saying that we are being the people who go there. We're not expecting you to not like this. You're supposed to be supporting whatever we do. We run your club. We run what is for you. Some of you is a religion. It's basically for some of you it's life. It's basically everything for some people. And all it takes is six of them, apparently, in this country. 3 of them in Spain, 3 of them in Italy, to decide, what we have here isn't enough for us. We don't gain very much from being in the Champions League or in the Europa League, because clearly we're just too good for that, or we think we're too good for that. You accrue millions, billions possible even of dollars of debt, and you sit there thinking, well, I don't know how we're going to fix this problem. How are we going to get out of it? I don't know. I don't know how they can convene to come up with this idea. It is just incredibly selfish and disgusting. I mean, how dare they do this? How? Why? What exactly do they want more for us to do to stop hating them? Like, we cannot not hate them, because that's what they're making us do. We hate them for a reason. And for whatever they do from here on out, whether we achieve, immortal greatness, unless they're gone, I can't give a crap. I can't. It doesn't make any sense for them to do this. It does not. And you can't accept even the basic knowledge or the basic know-how that what they're doing here is tearing us away from where we have been going for hundreds of years. The worst thing is people died for this, and I've seen too many reactions this morning on social media and on TV already. But you have people tearing up, you have people expressing emotion, you have people, showing their true colors today. The good and the evil. The good being us, the people who give a crap about the team, the players, the manager, whether you like them or not. And then you have on the other side the evil, the people who run this place, or the people who run those clubs, who don't see for what it's worth a clear sight for, or a clear way forward to bettering our game. On top of which, UEFA know better, really. They listen to these clubs. They say they're going to try and help them do better in their ways of improving the game for themselves. But really, what do they get out of this? You know what? Ridicule and shame, because they are letting their good they let good reputation go when they ban Andre Cudella for 10 matches for racially abusing Glenn Kamara. You banned Kieran Trippier for more than that, for just for betting irregularities, which are, a player bets on a game of football that he's involved in. And that apparently is more egregious than someone committing a ill human act. I don't get it. And it is beggars belief. It is beggars belief. You can't sit here and just think, like, what exactly do people do to deserve this? What did we do to deserve this? We did nothing. There were those that protested for us 15 or so years ago. I was too young at the time, unfortunately. I'm 26 now. I've supported this club for 3/4 of my life. Yeah, I live in somewhere that isn't Manchester, but so what? I chose that club. I support them. I chose to support them just based on the fact that my dad's an Arsenal fan. He hates United. I went against the grain in my house. And I chose to follow the team he didn't like. And guess what? That team is successful. That team went and won things under Sir Alex Ferguson. Then you read about the history. Then you read about Munich. Then you read about Benfica. You read about the relegation in 74. You read about 73, sorry. You read about the promotion back up in 74. You read about the hard times United fans went through in that period following Matt Busby's departure. You read about the challenges Bobby Charlton went through, how George Best, while being the best player in the world, was one of the most flawed human beings at Manchester United. And he could easily be, today, he could have been jailed for some of the things he did back in the day. You read about how Dennis Law winning the European Golden Ball, or the fact that, Alex Stepney, a survivor in the Munich air crash, went on to win the European Cup, went on to become a icon at Manchester United. Those that have gone before us, that have played for our club, that have given up their soul, heart and soul for the club. That even the local boys who played from when they were, in their minor ages, when they're 5 or 6, they joined the Man United and try and strive to be with the first team, to fulfill a dream that they would have set out for when, even if they didn't intend to, they would start dreaming about it while they're going through the motions of learning how to be a champion or a professional football player. And you just don't know what to do from there when you hear news like this. And it's just not good. We are in a difficult situation here. So I've ranted for 20 minutes now. No, not ranted. I have to get as much off my chest as possible. But this is not just for me. I have left the StreamYard link to this show in the description of the YouTube on YouTube. All are welcome. I would love to just talk to people right now. I just want to speak to people and try and make sense of this and try and see what they think and see what they want. I think we all know, in fact, we all know what the common want is, the common interest is that this is quashed immediately. The sooner, the better. And that the leeches that currently reside in our club get tossed out at the first opportunity. So, yeah, if you do want to join the show, and regulars of Trafford Talk are welcome as well. The description, you'll find the link there. It should be hopefully on our Trafford Talk Twitter or on the United Speaks Twitter. Yes, hopefully you can join in there. I just want to be the person who lends a pair of ears today, rather than the person who speaks a lot. I gave myself enough time, 21 minutes. I think I'm not I'm not sane enough to really be able to talk for so long about a matter, but I want to be able to be the person that listens today, not the person that talks. I want to be able to give people a chance to express themselves if they haven't already, or if they want even so to condemn those who are doing what they're doing. So yeah, if you wish to join, the link is in the YouTube description, hopefully on the Trafford Talk Twitter feed, and you feel free to hop in at your own leisure. But as I was saying, how does this European Super League work? Well, basically, they're trying to do what they do in the NBA. 20 teams. The founding members are guaranteed survival. They won't get relegated. I believe there's 15 teams, 3 more that join, become founding members. 5 of them are relegated. Each of these clubs probably get about £350 million for being in it. There's been already funding secured in the form of a €3.5 million loan from JP Morgan, which is where one of the leeches at the club, I refuse to say his name, one of the leeches at the club used to work. Also, there is the conundrum of the clubs involved, obviously, and what the repercussions are for them currently in terms of what may happen later on. What's expected to happen is right now, the Premier League will act accordingly if there is to be a clear breakaway, which is seeming possible now, of these clubs that are in this country. The Premier League will obviously act on this, strip titles if they have to. They will, from all the clubs involved, doesn't matter how far back it's from, they'll strip, they'll take money off them, deduct points, sporting penalties, judicial penalties. The same goes from UEFA. Alexander Chefrin just now said that any players who do participate in this Super League will no longer participate. No longer participate in these in the World Cup or in the European Championships for their nation. I don't think this is impossible, but it really puts players' thoughts into perspective, and they have to be taken seriously, whatever they do. And I just hope that at some point there is a mutiny, there is something that will rattle the cage of those who want to be. How can I say this? Rattle the cage of those who are trying to put this into action. There is so much that could go wrong or could go right, and to be honest with you, it just doesn't feel good at all. At the end of the day, I've been going to Old Trafford now for near a decade, not consistently, but enough to say that I'm stone hardened as a United fan. I've been away at least a few times where possible, and I've been to United or watched United at Wembley. I've watched us in Europe. I've watched us on a few big European occasions in the Champions League and the Europa League. I've seen us play in the I never got to see them in a cup final. I never got the opportunity to see that. I hope to at some point. That might not happen. And to be honest, as I've said, being a person who cares deeply about this club, who really thinks that there is a place for people to like meet, congregate, and enjoy one another's company, and discuss all the worldly things that they do while watching their favorite team play. You then replace that with just week in, week out of what they like to think of as big games and huge huge money making ties. There's something called the FA Cup for that, and in this country we have the biggest tournament competition in the world. We have that for a reason. We have these opportunities for clubs like Havant and Waterlooville, or North West Victoria, Sutton United, variety of clubs who've all been at points successful in the FA Cup and have gone on to have been financially better off for it. That any money that these kind of clubs earn takes them for a little while into the black, into the positive zone of financial stability. We have that for a reason. It's the much loved competition. Why, however, is it then being disregarded in a sense? Because you're telling big clubs now to not be in this competition so that they can focus on playing a weak, or if they do play in a competition, they're playing a weaker team in one match. And then when they're ready to play against Barcelona on Wednesday night, and then it's suddenly, oh yeah, great, we got to play, Tuanzebe at centre back and Tejas at left back, and we'll play Pereira when he comes back on loan in the middle. Fernandez needs a rest for the big game against Barcelona. Well, that's no. I don't get excited. I don't even think about getting excited for stuff like that. I don't see a reason for it. There has to be a clear and obvious action now for people to. I hope. I doubt that sometimes people say they'll do it and then they won't. Like, I'm happy to join something if it happens, but if there is a clear and obvious way for fans to come together and actually put a stop to this one way or another, then do it. Just get on with it. Get right on with it. Get it done. Because if you go try and say you'll do it, but don't go through with it, you're really just, as I said, you're no better than them. They're just going to plow on, push their way through with it, and make this, what we don't want to happen will now happen. And it will be at the detriment of the people who say they would try and be activists for it. But clearly they're not. The rituals of our game have been torn apart in front of our very faces, and we don't deserve it. We don't even have the right of way to contemplate discussing it. Frankly, I just don't see why we should be sold into thinking that this is better than the Champions League, a tournament that is, I'm quite sure, that has done so much right. I think he's brought in not just so much widespread support, but it's brought in fans from outside of these shores or the outside of the continent who love this competition. I've been privileged to work at events like these, and I cannot tell you for the small clubs. I tell you the story of this season. I went to Denmark and FC Midtjylland. It's their first time in the Champions League this season. They've been in Europe before in the Europa League. They had a glamour tie against Manchester United. It was the one where Rashford scored his first 2 goals for the club before going on to becoming the wonderful talent he is today. But that was their first ever Champions League campaign. And that I speak to the locals there in Herning. I spoke to like people who could speak English, because my Danish isn't any good. But I spoke to locals and they were so enthusiastic, excited, and forward thinking, hoping this is going to be big for Danish football, because our club is a small club. We're a community club. We love the fans. We're sad we can't be there, but we will always support them against whoever we play against. And the directors at the stadium, there was some people who, local people who work in the grounds, or club officials there, who welcomed us in with open arms and gave, like, I have on my accreditation, I have a Michelin badge. I have more respect for them now than I have for Manchester United. To think that they would be the team with more morals than a team that's already won 3 European Cups and as many Premier League titles. To frankly tell you the truth, everybody, I don't like it. The game is terrible enough as it is, with the rich people running it, before even the Super League came into the world. And I find it just disgraceful. They've gone with this. They've gone ahead with it. They've not given the fans a chance to see their team play this season. All the fans haven't been able to, unfortunately. It's just wrong on so many levels. And I hope this is squashed sooner rather than later. I don't know why we're sitting here, or I'm sitting here now just being myself, telling you all how I see it. But at some point, we're going to be talking about this for a long, long time. So I'm going to take the initiative on myself here with this, not with the whole channel, but I will host shows this week with the intention of daily updates on this debacle. It's not just going to be me, it's going to be Alexi and Robbie too. They will obviously, like they did just an hour or so ago, they will discuss further about this on other episodes of Let's Talk United. And I know that previews and reviews will now have this centered around it. It kind of takes away the gloss of the fact that we could possibly, if we get it right in the next few weeks, be in the have a small chance of getting first place in the Premier League. Whether that matters or not now is pretty darn disgraceful. And they're only out. They only want to get a positive. They only want to try and get this done so they can see. Oh, we'll see how bad the PR is, and when we start it, we'll probably get all great PR and people just talk about the game instead of what we're doing in the behind the scenes. When really, you could get I think many people have said this, but it stands true. How do you get the best PR possible? Go and win the Premier League or win the Champions League. Do that. And then see what happens. Watch how your numbers skyrocket. Watch it. It's incredible. That's how you make it happen. Go out and win. How do you go out and win? Support the manager. That's the most important thing. Get the right talent in. That's the second most. It's also important. You make sure the fans are there week in, week out, supporting this team, giving them everything possible to be able to make it easier for them. For the people, this is basically the getaway from the daily life. They work their socks off from 9 to 5 every week to make the happy little wage they make. And then when they go and spend their money at Old Trafford or at the Emirates, the Nou Camp, the Bernabeu, the Allianz Arena, everywhere in this world where football's loved extensively, they go and spend that money to watch their team play good football and hopefully win. The outcome of the game can have a bearing on the outcome of not life, thankfully, but it has a deep impact in some people. And on numerous examples on this channel this season, we've had that. There have been so many examples of big moments this season where United have been in dire positions or have been eliminated, and suddenly we are in the dumps. We're so annoyed. We're so disappointed. You can't understand why. And it just doesn't make any sense. So that's frankly how it is. If you hear stuff in the background, sorry, it's my mother. She's trying to get my attention, but I just have to get this done. Speaking of which, it is done. I think if nothing's going to happen, this will not be the first time I'm going to be on here today. I'm appearing all for United later. Just because I've voiced more of my opinion on this as a fan. But look, we're going to try and make this a daily thing. I think we'll be definitely on later if anything else happens. I'll certainly be here for it. Just not for the Super League, but we're here for the channel to be able to voice more opinions, to welcome more opinions. And besides that, you've got my point of view, at least. I didn't get to do a match review yesterday. I wasn't able to watch the game. But all I can say right now is our game is dying right in front of us. And there really isn't much we can do to stop it. So, other than if we could come together and just show our in clear colours, our true intentions for what we can do to prevent this from happening, the sooner the better. And until then, they're winning, and we must not let them win. At this point, they are in their. It's like the Formula One season, basically. Hamilton wins all the championships with Mercedes. We get it. It's dominant performances. We've just got to make sure we can catch them and catch them quickly. We cannot let them get far away before it's too late. If we do, we're probably going to be sitting here years from now thinking, well, playing against Hamilton and PSG this every week isn't really fun. So, c'est la vie. All right, that's it from me. I'm just going to clear off for a bit. But yeah, we'll be back later if anything else happens. Until then, cheers, everyone.